Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander viewers should exercise caution when watching this program, as it may contain images of deceased persons.
But first, Jim Morrison is a well-respected community member and passionate advocate for stolen generations and their families, and has recently formed an organisation called Yokai. While a relatively new organisation, it has been born out of almost 20 years of effort by WA Stolen Generations people, their families and other concerned West Australians. Yokai represents a call to action, ensuring Stolen Generations people and their families get the support they need to heal from past wrongdoings. Laura Thomas reports.
For generations, Yokai has been a Noongar war cry. The word has inspired an organisation that aims for a collective approach to address all aspects of intergenerational trauma in the Indigenous Australian population. The founder of this organisation is Jim Morrison.
Yokai is about taking advantage of what we have, taking advantage of goodwill, but have that joined up and wraparound approach to meet that end. So Yokai, although it's a Noongar war cry, it's about healing our spirit and working together.
Noongar Radio is a Perth-based radio station centralised around promoting and highlighting primarily Indigenous people and issues.
What we've done is formed the West Australian Stolen Generation Aboriginal Corporation. So that then will look at all stolen generation initiatives around the state and help them work together. So in the spirit of Yokai, Yokai is not a service. So it's about better services for Aboriginal people, not duplicating the service, but ensuring that services work together. So there's better coordination of service providers.
Alan Carter and Anthony Hansen have known Jim for many years and have seen Yokai evolve.
The fundamental element of the Bringing Them Home report is that issue of healing the stolen generation survivors and their families. And that's how Yokai was born.
We get the support and the assistance from government and non-government agencies. I think, we can do a lot of great work with our people. That'll cost the government half the money.
Jim's passion and history has allowed Yokai to grow.
I'd have to say that Jim is the driver. He takes you on a wild ride at times, but he gets you there and he keeps you committed to that fundamental cause, which is to heal his people and reconnect them to their culture.
Jim's been a great role model for me, and a great advocate for a stolen generation as well.
I had 30 parents removed, so that in itself has given me a bit of incentive to work for people that have been through the removal process and their families. My passion is intergenerational trauma and how that impacts on our people today from past policies.
This encapsulates Yokai's approach of confronting the past head-on, such as turning Carrolup and Wandering missions into places of healing and education.
There are people who won't want to come here because of the bad feelings and the trauma they've experienced. Well, I think they've got to confront that. They've got to confront the evil before they can move on.
The most exciting aspect for the future of Yokai is the thought of a better life for future generations.
We have to return to a space where we can learn our culture, practicing your culture and speaking your language, your social emotional well-being. There's a strong correlation. So that's what we've got to do to get our people out of the doom and gloom and get involved in healing, and it's got to be cultural healing. And that's what the missions are all about. So I think it's powerful.
They prosecute us, but we know we do. Let society say, who cares about you?
Laura Thomas with that story. Now we are joined in the studio by Jim Morrison, founder of the Yokai organisation, Marion Kickett, Director of the Centre for Aboriginal Studies at Curtin University, and Francis Khan, Project Officer from Rollins Village. Thank you all so much for joining us here today.
You're welcome.
Now Jim, can you please tell us more about Wandering and Carrolup missions?
So both missions are significant as far as Noongar people are concerned, because mostly Noongar children were removed and put on to those missions. And sadly, the impact of that removal is still very much with us today. So significant missions that we hope to return to places of healing, and in reality they have to be places of cultural healing, because both missions and the founder of these missions forbade us. We were forbidden to practice our culture and speak our language. So to remedy that, the missions will be redeveloped to become cultural healing centres. And we're very early in the planning, but very exciting times for these missions.
Yeah, it's just so great to hear that that's happening out there and that you're leading the way in that.
Well, one of the first things we have to do is ensure that the survivors are involved. So first thing we will be doing in the near future is calling together the survivors to say, well, how do you want to be involved? How can you be empowered to return these places to places of healing rather than what you've experienced in your young life?
And Marion, can you talk about how these healing centres will contribute to individual and community resilience?
Yes, I did my research, a PhD on the topic of resilience. Why are some people, Aboriginal people, more resilient than others, was what I looked at in my research. And many people that I interviewed said to me that they had started the healing journey. Some people were further along than others, so they actually said to be as resilient as what they are, they started the healing process. And every single person I interviewed stated that and gave examples. So healing is so important for our people to move forward and also to be resilient. And that's what I've found. So healing to me is extremely important.
Francis, how big of an impact is intergenerational trauma having on families that you work with today?
As having gone through it myself, I found that at different stages of my life, it impacted me in different ways. And it's gone full circle with me, and I've got back to where I can walk into Rollins and I can work at Rollins. I can help Uncle Les and the committee do things. And it's sort of a way of healing, but it'll never totally heal. I think about my parents and my grandparents, and that's where it always gets back to with me. It's very lonely. Kids never saw any love. And yet when we were parents, we were expected to give love, and the love wasn't given to us. And it's something you had to learn. And one of the things that we clung to is our culture. So I think what Jim's doing and Marion's doing here at the centre is going to benefit Noongar people.
Jim, it sounds like, it's been a long time coming, Yokai, but can you share with us some of your hopes for the future of it?
So Yokai is about telling the truth. It's about that healing of a nation, if you like. It's about Aboriginal people in the first instance addressing their trauma, but also for the broader community to understand what happened, because a lot of people don't know what happened.
Yeah, so important. Thank you so much for joining us here today at Noongar Dandji, and especially Francis coming all the way from Rollins mission today, and it's really special to have all you here.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Sharing your stories.
Thank you.